Hey gang, welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. Today's video, well, it's going to be more of a shop update. And I have reasons for that. Now, you already know that I'm working on the Cobra Jet, and I have the 68 Fastback behind me. That's going to be my next project in the video series. I've already done some work to this car. It is under the title or the playlist of Fangled, and that's what we're calling it. So the Fangled Fastback. But I have been working on the Cobra Jet, and you already know that car started off with a really rusty 69 Mach 1 Cobra Jet, and basically I rebuilt that car using a few original parts and mostly dynacorn parts. For the most part, everything has been going pretty well. The car is built, the body is in paint, and I am in the process of buffing it for the second time. So what happened was I had painted the car and I made some mistakes with the clear coat. So I used a 1.4 tip, I used the wrong reducer, and I didn't use enough air pressure. So I changed all of those parameters to a 1.3 tip, a 30 psi at the air pressure, and a better reducer. Now, the results were really good. And I decided that I am going to lightly sand this car and buff it anyway. So I am in the process of doing that. However, life gets in the way sometimes. So last weekend was Memorial Weekend, Memorial Day weekend. And I emphasize this, that Memorial Day is for the soldiers or the service members that we have lost in combat. So remember that whenever Memorial Day comes around next year. Veterans Day is for veterans like me who either didn't go to combat or returned home safely. So there's a difference between the two. Just to point that out. So last weekend we went to the lake with our friends. We spent a weekend there and enjoyed our time together. Tuesday, well, I had some appointments. You know, as we get older, we have doctor's appointments and different things like that. So I had an appointment that I had to do, and that took up a good part of my day. But I still managed to get some work done on the car that's in the paint booth. That's the Cobra Jet. So I worked on that, and then Wednesday I worked on it as well. But Wednesday afternoon, I got a call from my oldest son. He and his wife had gone on a trip to, I believe it was actually North Carolina, for her grandfather's funeral. So life happens, right? People pass away, and we join our families to remember them. However, on their way back, their van broke down. So they broke down in Anderson, South Carolina. What do? Well, as a dad, we take care of our families, right? So Wednesday night, they tried to do a few things to get the van operational again. I'm going to show you some of that as well, the vehicle. It is a 2011 Toyota Sienna, and basically it wouldn't move. It just wouldn't move. You give it gas, the thing would not accelerate. They managed to get it to an Advanced Auto Parts where they could scan it. They had to tow it there, and it had solenoid codes, and it wouldn't go anywhere. So yesterday, which was Thursday, I got up early in the morning, took my truck, my tow dolly, and headed to South Carolina. They had already come home with her mom. They were in separate vehicles. So I drive up to South Carolina, which I happened to need to do anyway by chance, and I picked up their vehicle. So I was able to get it to move to the back of the parking lot and get it onto the tow dolly. I had to winch it on or use a come along, because it would not even pull forward. Once I got it to the back of the parking lot, it was done. So obviously there's a transmission problem, and I'm going to have to look at that and try to see if I can't help them. If not, I may have to go to my friend who does transmission work. Now, part two of this is I needed to go to South Carolina because the gentleman that bought Jade from me, he has decided to do some upgrades. And those upgrades include putting in a 5-speed transmission, changing out the rear differential to a different ratio and a posi, which is always nice. He went to electronic fuel injection, and he also made some other upgrades in the process. He changed out the tires and wheels, by the way. So he had offered me the opportunity to buy back some of those parts. So even though it was kind of out of my way, you know, I go up to Anderson, South Carolina, and I ended up going to, I think I had to go east about 2 hours to get to this gentleman's place. And we met, and I was able to get the gas tank out of the car that was in jade, the intake manifold, the carburetor, the set of wheels that were on it, the transmission, and the differential. So all those parts are valuable to me because I can use them in another project. So they're here right now. I'm going to show you those as well in just a minute. Now back to the Toyota. I'm going to have to look at this and see if I can either use my scanning tool to try to fix it or find out what's going on. But the difficulty is these cars, vans, they don't have a dipstick. So what Toyota did is they made a sealed system, and basically it's supposed to maintain itself, internally. So if there's a way you can add fluid, but it has to go through the side of the case, and there's a drain plug and a little sleeve that they put inside. So when you do add fluid, if you were to add fluid to the side of the case, that sleeve acts as a top off. So basically it's like a straw that comes up from the bottom through the opening where the drain plug is, and that straw acts as a stop point. So if you put excess amount of fluid in, it's going to go out the straw and out the drain hole to level it off. There's a whole sequence to this. I saw a video, guy did a great job. I may post a link to that video just because he did such an amazing job talking about this situation. So let's look at what's going on with the Mach 1, the Toyota, and the parts from Jade. All right, I am working on a video of this process of buffing this. Now, I will say I did some sanding with this with some 1000 grit on my DA, and then I followed up with sandpaper 1200, 1500, 2000, 2500, and then 3000 on the Trizact foam pad. So now things are looking really good. Now, I did go over this one time with the wool buffing pad or buffing wheel, and things are looking really nice. I ran into a few issues back here. I found a few dust nibs on the deck lid, so I'm going to end up taking this off and doing it independently. It's not going to change anything, but it has just, needs a little more attention. This quarter panel and this side are done with the buffer, and I say done. What I mean is they've had one round of the wool, and I may end up doing another round with a different wool pad just to finish it out a little more. If you remember, there was a run right here in the door from the previous round of clear coat, and I have eliminated that entirely. The fenders are sanded, again gone over with 3000 as the final, but I have not buffed them as of yet. I actually ordered a new wool pad, but it hasn't arrived yet, so it's kind of holding me up as well. Now, let's move forward. Out here, I have the rear valance from the Cobra Jet. There were a few dust nibs in this area right here on both sides, so I sanded that and also hit it with the 3000. This is going to clean up just fine. I still have to do the hood with the blackout. Not a priority at the moment. That can wait until I have the car done and I'm able to get it out of the way so I can put this in the paint booth along with the cowl and get the blackout treatment done on them. Now on to the other pieces and parts. Let me back up a second and show you this. So these are the wheels that were on Jade. I just put them on my Mach 1 for a visual. I wanted to see what I thought or how I felt about them on the car. And I can't say that I really want to put those on this particular car. The reason for that is I have these Magnum 500s and they just feel right. When you see these on the 69, it just seems like that's what belongs on this car. So although these look good, they may end up on a whole different project, which is fine. I will be able to use them. So if you haven't seen, I have a series on this car called My Mach 1. There's a playlist. This is a car I bought, I don't know, maybe it was 2 years ago now, I don't even remember, from a gentleman in North Carolina. and this car is really, really, really solid. Like, that's the worst rust on the whole car. There's nothing on the bottom of this car that's an issue. Everything is in fantastic shape. They had cut off the quarter panel because they had found some rust in the lower part of the drop-off panel, and I've already addressed this. I fixed that and I put in a new wheelhouse, so all that is in place. I still have to put the skins back on for the quarter, and those are dynacorn, so that's going to be a later project. But you can just see basically this car is fantastic. There's no rust in any of the aprons, the shock towers, nothing. So I will get back on this as time permits, let's put it that way. Along with the wheels, as I said, I got the intake manifold and the Edelbrock carburetor that I had on Jade. So those can easily go onto another 289 or 302. So I was glad to have those pieces back. I also got back the transmission. Now this was a rebuilt transmission, and it's all dusty from the time when I painted Jade. But that's the transmission that was in it, and now it's obviously sitting here, and I can use that for another project. Now along with that, I did get back the also got back the shifter, the flex plate, the transmission crossmember and dipstick, and I also got back the distributor and the fuel pump. There's a brake pedal pad, the block off plate for the transmission, and distributor cap. So again, all this can be used in a future project. Now, oh, I should say also, there's the differential that I had in the car. So they bought a new one, and I got the carrier case back with the differential inside, the old one. Now here's the Sienna, and what I'm gonna have to do basically is get this up in the air, kind of leveled out. The video that I mentioned, the gentleman talked about taking off this wheel. There's a couple covers right inside of that, and there's also an access port on the side for adding fluid. This has a bit of a whine to it, and there is solenoid codes that have popped up on this. My first thoughts are, does it have low fluid? Because it acts like it's low on fluid. So I'm going to try to verify the condition of the fluid and whether it's there, see if there's a leak or something. Who knows, but I'm going to have to try to take care of that for them. Otherwise, as I said, I'll have to go back and I'll have to get my transmission guy to do a rebuild on it. So I towed it yesterday with my that 2009 GMC truck. Did great. I do have a few little clips that I might post on this video. I did have my dash cam on, and let me tell you, for the most part, people were great. But at other times, they wanted to get in front of me coming on the entrance ramp, and basically it's like, I look at it like this: if you are ahead of me on the ramp, keep going. Don't slow down. Accelerate. You're getting on the interstate. Don't drop your speed. You know, if the speed limit is 55, 65, whatever, you need to speed up and try to get in front of those vehicles that are already moving if you have an access. So I had to almost lock up the brakes twice. And I think I only have one video clip, but I had to lock up the brakes twice for people they were ahead of me. And all of a sudden they panicked and started hitting the brakes, and I had to lay on the horn like, I can't stop, you know? And so they finally, kept moving and got out of my way. But I also had a semi-truck that kind of got really close to my front end as he was merging into multiple lanes. So anyway, for the most part, people were great and didn't cause any problems, but we had a lot of rain, a lot of issues like that. So anyway, that's about it for this update. I want to thank everybody for watching this video. I thank my my viewers all the time, and I appreciate everybody who participates, but I'm most grateful for my patrons. I have a Patreon link down below if you're interested in helping out with that. My YouTube revenue continues to decline because I'm not a goofy entertainer and there's too much competition. And so if you appreciate my videos, there is a link for Patreon, but there's also a link to a tip jar. So you can go through that if you like, and every little bit helps me out along with my Amazon links and everything else. So not much of a video at this point. I'm glad you watched the whole thing. There will be more, I promise. But until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.